Okay, so this whole far sight window thing. I mean, come on, how cool is that? You've got one window showing like a sunny pastoral paradise and another, bam, a blizzard with a snow leopard casually strolling by. How does this guy Salvador even afford these things?
Right? It's fascinating. The far sight windows almost function like, portals to different emotional states, reflecting Sam's own confusion. One moment he's in these warm, inviting fields, and the next, it's this frosty, almost hostile environment. Brilliantly symbolic.
Oh, absolutely. And it's such a smart way to show his state of mind, right? Like, he's totally out of his depth here. First, he's squished in a lift with these guards, and now he's staring at windows that make no sense. It's
really unsettling.
Exactly. It totally puts you in his headspace, where you're like, what is even real anymore? And can we just talk about Salvador D'Angelo for a second? This guy is a total enigma. Is he a mentor, a villain, or just weirdly rich?
Ah, Salvador. He's one of those wonderfully ambiguous characters. On the surface, he's charming, sophisticated, and he clearly knows more than he's letting on.
Oh, for sure.
But there's something unsettling about how quickly he shuts down Sam's questions about level 273. He's both drawing Sam in and keeping him at arm's length. Almost, like a chess player manoeuvring pieces.
Totally agree. And that whole scene where he rolls up the ancient scroll the second Sam gets curious? Suspicious with a capital S. Like, we know Salvador's got secrets. Big ones. And Sam picks up on it too, which I loved, because it shows he's not just some clueless kid wandering around.
Yes, exactly. Sam is clearly sharp, sceptical even. But he's also, and I find this fascinating, he's polite. You can feel his unease, but he keeps trying to stay respectful.
Totally. And did you catch how he rubbed his scars when Salvador called him Sammy? Oof, that gave me chills. There's such a history there.
Yes, that moment stood out to me too. It's subtle, but it tells us so much about his past trauma. Those scars aren't just physical, are they? They're emotional. And Salvador tapping into that with just a nickname? I think that was intentional.
Oh, 100%. I'm just dying to know what happened to him, and his family for that matter, because clearly there's a lot going on behind the scenes. Plus, his dad, he's acting shifty. Did you notice that?
Completely. Jasper's desperation to smooth things over with Salvador speaks volumes, doesn't it? It's almost like he's in a precarious position himself. And that strange comment about the missing level.
What's up with that?
Right. It's as if Salvador is hinting at something larger, something Jasper doesn't want Sam to know about. The stakes feel significant, even though we're not being told everything yet.
Oh, and can we circle back to the windows for a sec? That snow leopard scene? I couldn't stop picturing it. This almost mythical beast just strolling through the snow, and Salvador casually drops the "it'll soon be extinct" line. Like, hello, environmental themes much?
Precisely. The snow leopard's presence feels loaded with meaning. Is it a symbol of endangered traditions, perhaps even paralleling Sam himself? We know Salvador's planning something with him, an apprenticeship, or maybe more.
Yeah. It's like, are we looking at a world where nature is fading, technology is pushing out the old ways, and Sam's stuck in the middle of all this? And Salvador? He's totally the guy holding all the cards. But good luck guessing his hand.
Indeed. And just when you're starting to admire the strange beauty of this situation, Salvador not only brushes off Sam's questions, but sends him out to look at Tokyo at night. It's dismissive, controlling even.
So much mystery. And poor Sam, questioning everything and getting no answers. Salvador's like, run along, kid, the adults are talking.
It's a masterfully controlled introduction to this world, rich in atmosphere, intrigue, and character dynamics. It leaves us, just like Sam, yearning for clarity. Speaking of unsettling moments, how about that nightmare sequence? It was incredibly visceral. The smoke, the flames, his sister's voice fading into the inferno. You can feel Sam's desperation, his helplessness in that moment, almost like the chaotic energy Salvador leaves lingering around him has seeped into Sam's dreams.
Oh, totally. It was like reading a punch to the gut. And that memory haunts him, right? It's not just something in his past. It's right there with him all the time.
Exactly. The way the trauma bleeds into his present feels so real, especially with how he instinctively rubs those scars. Those physical reminders are tethered to what is clearly a deep, emotional wound, and his inability to save Sophie still weighs on him heavily.
So much guilt, right?
Yes, and it's compounded by the fact that he's never fully processed it. The nightmare shows that the fire, losing Sophie, is a defining event for Sam, shaping his fractured identity and sense of self-worth. It's heartbreaking, but utterly compelling.
And honestly, you've got to wonder how that guilt ties into his parents too. Like, there's tension there, especially with this apprenticeship idea. His dad, Jasper, is clearly all in, but his mum, not so much.
Absolutely. I found that contrast fascinating. Jasper, with his talk of paladin potential, seems seduced by Salvador's vision for Sam. It's like he's projecting his own unfulfilled dreams onto his son.
Ugh, yes. He's chasing the glory he couldn't have, right? Living vicariously through Sam, when it might not even be what Sam wants.
Precisely. And Sam's mother, on the other hand, is the voice of caution. She brings this grounding presence, challenging Jasper's, overzealous ambitions. There's something very raw about how their argument unfolds. It feels so real, like a true parental conflict with their child caught in the middle.
Totally. It's like you feel the tug of war on Sam's future. And poor Sam. He just wants to get the room to stop spinning, right? That hangover. A perfect metaphor for everything he's dealing with. He's literally and emotionally weighed down.
Yes, the hangover almost serves as a physical manifestation of this burden of expectation. Everyone around him seems to have these grand plans for his future. Yet Sam's left to question if this is even something he wants, or if he can handle it.
And how could he? He's barely holding himself together. The contrast between his vulnerability and this larger-than-life apprenticeship is just, whoa.
It does raise questions, doesn't it, about how much Salvador is manipulating the situation. Because let's be honest, there's an agenda here. You can almost hear Salvador playing puppet master behind the scenes, pulling Jasper's strings to secure Sam for his own purposes.
Oh yeah, totally. And Sam? He's already dealing with a mountain of guilt, this fractured family dynamic, and now he's got the pressure of being paladin material dumped on him. Like, no wonder he feels lost. Poor guy can't catch a break.
And that's what makes him such a relatable character. Sam's humanity shines through his struggles. He's not some untouchable hero. He's flawed, he's vulnerable. And yet there's this lingering question of whether he has the strength to rise above it all and become something greater. It's fascinating to see where this will take him next.
So, speaking of Salvador pulling strings, this whole apprenticeship idea feels massive, doesn't it? Like, after everything Sam's been through, his past, his family's expectations, now he's got Salvador swooping in with, here's a chance to redefine your life. It's almost overwhelming, like piling on to everything else he's already grappling with.
I completely agree. The apprenticeship feels almost like a metaphorical crossroads for Sam. It's his chance to step into something larger than himself, or at least that's how Salvador frames it. But it's also loaded with pressure.
Oh, so much pressure. And Salvador's such a wild card, honestly. Is he genuinely interested in helping Sam, or is this about, like, some hidden agenda? I don't trust him.
That's the thing about Salvador, isn't it? His intentions are so murky. On the surface, he's this sophisticated, almost paternal figure. But peel back the charm and you can't ignore the subtle manipulations. Like when he shifted the conversation away from Sam's questions about level 273.
Totally. And you mentioned before, he's pulling strings, right? Like, We see the way he manipulates Jasper, feeding him that paladin potential line. I think Salvador knows exactly how to push his buttons.
Yes, absolutely. Jasper clearly wants this for Sam, but it feels more about fulfilling his own unachieved dreams than what's best for his son.
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, the poor guy barely asks what Sam actually wants. It's like Sam's entire future is being decided by Salvador, whispering in his dad's ear. How is that fair?
It's not. Sam's barely navigating his present, let alone ready to tackle a monumental responsibility like this. The whole idea of the apprenticeship seems to rest on Salvador's ability to see something in Sam that maybe even Sam doesn't see in himself. But is it really there?
Great question. I mean, maybe there is something more to Sam. Like, we've seen glimpses of his strength for sure. But is he ready? And does he even believe in himself enough to take this on?
Exactly. And that's where the theme of growth comes in. This isn't just about saving the world, or whatever Salvador has in mind. It's about Sam wrestling with his past, his self-doubt, and figuring out who he is. For me, this chapter hints that Sam's journey isn't just external, it's deeply personal.
Totally agree. And it's so sad, but also, inspiring. Because you can feel the weight of everything Sam carries. His sister, the scars, his parents' constant demands. And yet, he's still here, you know? Still taking it one step at a time, still trying to figure it all out.
And that's what makes him such a relatable character. Despite all these fantastical elements, the windows, the snow leopard, the Atomverse, Sam's struggles are deeply human. Who hasn't felt overwhelmed by expectations they didn't ask for?
Oh, 100%. And honestly, I just want to give him a hug. Salvador's clearly playing this long game, and with everything going on, Sam deserves, one solid break, right?
He certainly does, but that's also what makes the story so gripping. The tension between what's happening to Sam and how he chooses to respond. It keeps us wondering if he'll rise above it all, or if the weight of everything will pull him under.
Wow. Okay, yeah. This chapter really hit me. It's like this perfect blend of haunting pasts and uncertain futures, and it leaves so many questions. Like, what happens next? Is the apprenticeship a chance for Sam to find himself, or is it the start of something even darker?
That uncertainty is such a powerful storytelling tool. It's kept us hooked, just like Sam is hooked into this odd, mysterious world. And with all the threads the story has laid out, I cannot wait to see where they're going to take us next.
Oh yeah, same here. But for now, that's all we've got for this chapter. Thanks for joining us, everyone. This story just keeps getting better, doesn't it?
It really does. Thank you so much for listening, and we can't wait to delve into the next chapters with you all. Until then, take care, and we'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.